Hello there, my fellow miners and crafters. Good times with Scar here, bringing you another super awesome Minecraft episode. And in today's episode, we return to our roller coaster project where we continue to build our station house. So let's get this episode underway. All right, and welcome back to Scarland, and it's always great to have you here for another build here. So just getting everything together. It looks like I've got all the supplies we need for today. And if you remembered the previous live stream, we had this entire area completely destroyed. So I think I've repaired it to just about the way it was. We had Bob, the building creeper inspector. He came in here and was inspecting things, and he destroyed it all. So I think I got everything all kind of put back into its places and stuff like that. So that's good. So let's take a quick look at some of the progress on the station house of our roller coaster. Look at that. Oh man, I can't wait to get the top up there, and that is going to look super awesome. So we're going to work on this section right here, and then later today on Twitch, we're going to work on this part over here. So definitely follow me down below. I'll have a link to my Twitch account, so you guys can head over there and follow me on there to be notified when I go live. And this was also a little project that we did on Twitch on Sunday, where we built this little pathway to our tree farm. Look at that. Isn't that like a cute little path here? Got some really nice little bits of detail throughout here. Got glowstone here and there, so we have some decent light. And yeah, just right up there and into our tree farm. I think it looks nice. We need to get some more flowers. We only had just that one single flower, so we definitely need to get some more flowers and a little bit more work here and there, but pretty much wrap things up there, and I think it's going to look really nice. So let's get into today's project. And you might be noticing I've got that axe that we talked about in the previous episode, what I should name the axe. And the name I chose, as you can see there, the Giant Dipper. Now the Giant Dipper is a really awesome old-fashioned wood roller coaster from the Santa Cruz Boardwalk. That's the one I chose. I had one person bring that up. One person's like, Giant Dipper, and I'm like, that's a good one. That's a good one. I really like that idea because I don't know. I've been around it a lot, but I've never ridden it. I've been to the pier many times, but I have actually never ridden the ride. It's a really cool ride because first it was made quite some time ago, but it took only 47 days to build and cost around $55,000 to build. And today, this would take, like 2 years to build, and it would be some X amount of money that's just some ridiculous amount. And then there would be, it'd just take years and years to build. It's funny, I was like, we need a new ride. And we designed it and built it in 47 days. So I just thought that was a really interesting story. I was reading about it. Okay, so we're going to start counting here. So that's 2, that's 3, that's 4, that's 5, that's 6, and you guessed it, that's 7. Awesome. So then we're going to bring this guy up to here, and that'll be 4. Wonderful. And then we're going to start to work on these corners here. So I think that'd be a really cool choice. My brother used to live in Santa Cruz, and my great-great-grandma used to live in Santa Cruz, and but I've never been on it. I was always too young to go on it when we used to go to the pier and stuff like that. So maybe someday. All right, so we're just going to kind of work on our design a little bit here. Get this going. There. Oh, hey, that's not right. You know what? This is going to be right. There we go. Awesome. So I want to talk a little bit about, I'm going to try to just do a single half slab there for fun. I know that's not quite what we did on the other side, but I like to kind of change things up every once in a while. See if any other better designs. Oh, I don't want to lose that, but I did. I didn't want to lose it, but I did. But anyway, I want to talk about choices in life and how things are more so events in one's life. An event in someone's life that sets you on the path for whatever you have in store for you. I want to talk a little bit about that. I find it really interesting to hear stories about, say, like a celebrity or a famous person, not so much celebrity, but just somebody famous kind of. What in their life sent them onto the path that they're on? Isn't this right? This is right, right? This is right. Yeah, that's right. And one of the cool stories recently I've heard about, like, what was that event that sent them on the path that they ended up on? And this one is Walt Disney. So we all know Walt Disney created the Disney company and all that stuff, him and his brother. At one time, the company was actually called the Walt Disney Brothers Studio. And then, Walt decided, you know what, we're going to be calling this now the Walt Disney Studio. And his brother was totally, kind of a humble person. He's just like, fine, Walt, whatever you want. And so that's kind of a funny little story. But anyway, Walt was a young child. Growing up, they were incredibly poor. Walt's dad never could really settle on one particular job. He was kind of known to be a jack of all trades, but a master of none. He could never really kind of find his way in his career. He had many, many different careers. Even tried to start a few businesses here and there. Just making sure everything's lined up. Yeah, looks good so far. So one winter, Walt really wanted these pair of boots for Christmas. So this story is interesting because it really shows kind of the progression of how things ended up for him in his later life. So Walt wanted these boots. The family was, they just didn't have the money for really luxury items or anything along those lines. Any Christmas presents they would get would all be practical things, underwear, socks, stuff like that. But Walt wanted these pair of boots. Now, these pair of boots had some significance back then. There was some form of, a fancy thing that maybe some of the other kids at school may have had or something along those lines. But the Disney family wasn't able to afford them. But Flora, Walt's mom, saved in her house, or her budget for, foods and, stuff like that, taking care of the family. She saved a penny every month. She would save 1 or 2 pennies so that they could afford to give Walt those shoes. His older brother, Roy, eventually, took on another job so he could get these boots for Walt. So Walt could have something nice for Christmas. Is this 7? And did we not go up all the way there? I think we need to actually add additional ones there. But anyway, so they get him these boots, and he's just unbelievably excited that he got these boots. He ran out of the house and went downtown to kind of show them off, show everybody his boots. He's got these fancy boots and showing everybody these things. And then Walt was heading home. It was getting late. He gets home. He starts to kind of kick these little ice things along the way. It's very cold that winter in Chicago. And there's a lot of ice and stuff like that on the ground. Walt starts kicking his stuff down the street, and eventually he gets his foot stuck in one. He gets his foot stuck in a horseshoe nail. Sticks right into his foot. He is completely stuck to this ice block. His foot's stuck in there. His prized boot, those boots are stuck. It takes hours for somebody to kind of see that he's actually stuck and needs help. And, it's kind of funny, like back then, they just find some random, doctor's office, and they send him over there. This is just a workman on the road sees him, okay? And the workman's, tells him that he has no anesthesia, and he's just going to have to tough it out, son. And so the doctor, pulls out that nail, gives him a tetanus shot, and he has to lay up. He's got to lay low for a month, for 2 months or so in his house. Now, back then, of course, Walt didn't have a radio. There were no TVs invented at that time. Of course, there was no internet, no iPads, and he was just kind of left there on that couch to do some of his schoolwork when school started. But other than that, just to kind of, lay in his thoughts and just think about, my boots. I'll never get those boots again. That was his only shot. The family could never, ever afford that again. And he started to, just get kind of depressed there. So his aunt brings him some paper, and you're thinking, paper? Walt starts to draw little drawings. School starts back up, and so Walt sends these drawings to his classmates and stuff like that back at school. And eventually Walt's mom, she brings some of those drawings to the barbershop. Now the barbershop, I'm going to start working down here a little bit. So the barbershop starts liking the things, the people at the shop, they start liking, they want to see more. And let's see, bring this up one more. And so they want to see more. And then Walt finds out that people are liking him and they want him to draw more. They want to see a little caricature of some little thing. And from then on, Walt decided from that couch that he was sitting on that he wanted to be a cartoonist. So that kind of sets that his goal in life was going to be a cartoonist. Now, his family kind of thought, Walt wasn't, doing well in school for many different reasons. Walt was struggling with school for the fact that, he was waking up at 3 to 2 in the morning to start the paper route. He wasn't getting a lot of food because they just didn't have a lot of money for, really healthy food and stuff like that. And a lot of the food that they did get Walt's dad would take half of it and go sell back to like the market or on the streets. So when they would go out and get their food for the week, Walt's dad would go out and sell some of it back. And so Walt didn't have a lot of nutrition growing up, so that was one of the things. He was very skinny, very scrawny, and so he wasn't doing well in school. And they didn't really have any hopes for him, and he was probably just going to end up working in a factory somewhere. But no, Walt decided then that he was going to become a cartoonist. Now, at the time, there were no comic strips, there was no animation type things. It was just little characters in newspapers that kind of made fun of, different things that were going on in the news. And from then on, Walt's goal in life was that he was going to be a cartoonist. Right after he was able to mend his foot and all, he got right back into, or he took his first art lesson and his only art lesson his entire life. I forgot which school it was, but he took a short art lesson, and it kind of sent him on the path that he went on. Always kind of had that in his back of his mind. He was going to become that cartoonist. Later, as technology got better, there was motion pictures, different things like that started to appear, and I don't know. It's interesting to see like that little thing, that little accident, him being stuck in that couch for all those months or it was like a month or two or so. That's kind of sent him on his path. Like when you think about your life, where do you see that one event in your life that has set you on the road that you're on right now? And I don't know, it's an interesting thing to think about. Like a small little thing like that sent Walt to eventually create the largest entertainment company in the world. And I don't know, I just find that interesting. I like stories like that where you kind of see where a successful person in life has something's messed up right there. But anyway, then catapulted from that little incident on to do amazing things. So I just find that interesting. You can also, if you want to get real dark, find villains of history and see where they went bad. So that's also an interesting one to do, is to see what event created that villain of our world history to do the things that he did. But what was the catalyst of those thoughts and things? So I don't know. I just find that very fascinating to kind of see where kind of a young person kind of gets their inspiration from and to do the things that they do. So I just find that to be pretty cool. So give me 1 second here, guys. Let me kind of catch my breath, and we'll finish this up. Oh, there's Bob down there. Keep an eye on him. All right, and welcome back. Just getting the finishing touches on a few things over here. So what are some of the takeaways from that story? I was thinking about that while I was building a little bit here and checking for mistakes and things like that. One of the biggest takeaways from it, in my view, is when somebody asks for your opinion on something, and think if Walt would have gotten negative feedback from his friends or from the barber shop or something along those lines, he would have stopped, most likely. He would have stopped drawing. So I find it important, is that right? Yeah, that's right. Is to, even if you receive something that is, somebody's asking you for feedback and you say, oh, that's awful, you should stop doing that. I think that could be one of the absolute worst things you could do to someone. The best way of doing it, if somebody's, maybe not quite up to the par, or they're not quite there with their design or something along those lines, is to not just trash them and just tell them, oh, that's terrible, you should never put it away. But to be able to, oh, it's nice, I see potential here. Let me give you some points, some things you could work on, and let's go from there and see how we can improve this. Say yeah, like it's not the greatest thing, but you can say, hey, here's some things you could do to work on it, and yeah, I can see potential here. So the person's not kind of left like, oh, I'm awful, but they've got some points, and it's also the person asking for feedback needs to not realize that they have a masterpiece in front of them, but something that you need to be able to take criticism. You need to be able to look at it and go, okay, so yeah, it's not great, but we can work on it. We can work on this. So it's, if those people would have, come back and just trashed him or something along those lines, we might not have had the Disney company that there is today. So it's no Olaf. Just think of that. No Olaf. That'd be a sad world, wouldn't it be? But it's just interesting just to look back on things and to see where paths meet and cross and send people on their different directions. Okay, so get this section up here. There we go. And let's get that over here and place that down there and right there. So the final takeaway, my final thing on that story, my final little thought going out is dreams. So Will had that dream. Will had that dream. He wanted to become a cartoonist. But you know what? He had that dream, but he also worked on that dream. A lot of dreams, a lot of people, I think it's important to have, you know, a dream, a goal, something like that. But you see a lot of times, and same with myself, I can't criticize, is a lot of people and myself, you want that thing. You have a dream, you have a goal in your mind, but what did I do that day to make that goal come true? Did I work really hard? Did I learn something new to be able to create that skill, to be able to accomplish that dream? Not really. Did I? No, I didn't. So it's always important to have that dream or that goal in mind, but you also got to be willing to work your butt off to try to get there, to learn. It's not just going to be handed to you, and you're not just going to get it and go, all right, I got my thing, my dream, my goal, my whatever that one thing I was working towards. That's not going to be given to you. It's going to be given to you from hard work and dedication to that. So keep dreaming, keep having that goal, but also make sure that you are working. You're making things happen. So that's just my little takeaway today. A little fun story and a few things. So let me know what you think of that. Let me know what you think of those, our little story today, and some of our things to kind of think about in our own lives. All right, so let's take a look at our progress, and look at that. I can't wait till both sides are complete. So like I've spoken about before, that this is the start of the ride. So you go through here, you get in there, you go through some queues, and you switch backs over here, get in the ride, it takes off, it goes over that mountain, into the ocean, comes back underground, pops out of the ground, does some twirls and some swirls and some drips and some, I don't know, some dips and things, and comes back into our exit there where you are taken out of your minecart, and then it's sent down here for storage till it's requested once again. So we got lots and lots of really cool things planned. Hopefully we can add some more attractions around here. And well, guys, this has been Good Times with Scar, and I always really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch my videos. And if you believe the video deserved a rating, that would be much appreciated. Maybe a friend might be interested in these. Definitely let them know. And until next time, we'll see you later.